Okay, welcome to Egghead's Barbecue and Grill. We are going to be building a fire pit, a steel fire pit, so that we can transport it around with us. You can build fire pits out of concrete blocks pretty easily, but I want something that doesn't have to be built up and taken down every time. So we're basically going to build this pit 72 inches long, 45 inches deep. And the reason we're going with 45, it's a multiple of 9, and a lot of fire bricks come in dimensions of 3 by 9, so just to make it easier to fit the right number of fire bricks in there, these are going to be the internal dimensions. And we'll make it 24 inches tall. The reason we're making it 24 inches tall is so that if you imagine the inside here, at 16 inches up, we're going to set some angle iron, and that's going to be the height of the grates that are in here. So we're going to have 3 separate grates, each of them about 2 by 4. They can be removed independently of each other. That'll come in handy for different things. I might put a second set of angle iron in here so I can put one of the grates lower than another for baking things. But anyway, the coals live on the bottom here, and then 16 inches up will be the grates, cooking grates, and then we'll have 8 inches of area left over so that when we cover this over with tin or cardboard or whatever, there'll be enough room for smoke to accumulate and make all the food tasty. So we're going to put some vents along the front, just little sliding doors, 3 of them. 3, 1 for each of these grates, basically, although they're not going to be separated in any way. We're also going to put a big door on the side here that can be swung open, and that's so that we can refresh the charcoal that's in here. We can just swing that door open, use a little shovel, a little hoe or whatever, move the charcoal around, add some more if we need to. Basically keep the internal temperature where we want it. So now this fire pit's going to sit on a set of legs, and so if we just make here's our little pit. It's going to sit on a set of 4 legs. That are going to be tied together into a little braced structure. On the back set of legs, we're going to put a set of wheels so that we can tilt it up and move it around a little easier. This is steel, so it's somewhat heavy, hard to just drag around. It's not super thick steel. The bottom is just 1/8, and then the sides we're just doing 14 gauge. The reason I'm going with the thinner steel is I'm actually going to line it, like I mentioned, with fire brick. Either fire brick or they make some terracotta tiling that's 6 by 6, and that might work pretty well as instead of the fire brick, because this tile is thinner and it's lighter. Anyway, so how high do we need everything? So we have our set of braces that are going to be underneath here. It's just going to be 1 by 1 square tubing, except for the bottom, it's going to be 1 by 2. So in order to fit everything up and down the ramp that I have, the outside dimensions of this, including the wheels, so imagine this is the last one, these are the wheels, has to be inside of 28 inches. So that's fine, right? We can, this is only 45 wide, 28 inches is most of, not, is a good enough support area under there. So we'll just make these rectangular. I want the height of the grill, I want the total height of the grill from the ground level to be about 34 inches. That's just a nice, comfortable working height for me. So that's where I want that grill. So the wheels are 10-inch wheels. So half of that's going to be 5 inches. So there's 5 inches. Then we have 16 inches from the distance of the grate to the bottom of the pit. So that's 21 inches so far. So out of 34 inches, we only have 13 inches left. So that's how high the rest of this structure has to be. So the way that these things are going to tie in to the actual fire pit is along the bottom of the fire pit we're going to run angle iron, and then from the side, that angle iron, which looks like that, these square tubes will just kind of butt up against it. And then we'll have holes where we can run a bolt, we can run a safety pin, just something to hold it in place, and probably only in the back, just at one point, because we're just trying to keep it from falling off the legs, basically. So we don't need it all welded together. What'll that let me do is I'll be able to change these out if I need to. If for some reason I'm going to keep the fire pit in the trailer for a while, I can make another set of braces under here that are shorter to account for the 8-inch height of the trailer, so that I'm not trying to cook on something that's way too high and then unsafe. So it's not going to make it less strong to have this clipped in. It's just kind of sitting there anyway. So that should be fine, and it'll make it so that we can change it if we need to in the future. So 28 inches across. These wheels are 2 inches wide, so that takes 4 inches out of here. So that means that this thing is going to be 24 inches wide, 13 inches high without the 1x2, so with the 1x2 a total of 15 inches for our little structure. So pretty much when you are going to build anything, you plan it, you measure it, you cut it, you stick it together, and then you paint it or finish it or do whatever you're going to do. So this is the planning part. We just want to make sure that all the numbers work out right. It's raining outside, so I can't do any actual welding, but I got a new cutoff saw to make all this cutting of the square tubing go much faster. So we can certainly do that even though it's raining. Get these all cut out, get them kind of prepped and ready to go, and then once we get some nice weather we can weld it all together. But for now, let's go cut some tubing. So here's all our tops and sides ready to go. You might notice this, my work table is an old refrigerator. Our refrigerator died, so it's been replaced, and I figured I'd turn this old one eventually into a cold smoker. So it's just sitting out here waiting to be retrofitted. So in the meantime, it serves as a work table, and that's all good for us. So okay, we have our parts cut out. And so in cooking, it's called mise en place, where just everything's kind of laid out and ready to get started. I don't know what you call it in metalworking. There may be something similar. Basically, I'm using this piece of Advantech from the trailer build. The nice thing here is it's got a factory square edge just for lining things up. We're not going to be tacking anything, and obviously I still need to prep all these edges before they can be welded, but just to kind of see how things would come together. Put the little pieces in place, have it more or less square. I mean, it's all going to have to be cleaned up and made ready to be tacked and then welded before anything happens, but just to get a feel for how these will look. There we go. That's going to be one brace. I might eventually add some diagonal cross pieces, but these are pretty squat, so they should be strong. And then this will be the bottom. The top will bolt into the angle iron under the fire pit, kind of going that way. But looks good. Looks like it'll work. And it's still too wet outside to bring the welder out here. Maybe a welder with lots of experience wouldn't mind standing on wet grass and doing it out in very humid weather. I'm not a very experienced welder, so I would rather not arc myself with 100 amps, so that would be bad. So we're not going to put anything together right now. We'll just wait for a nice day. Gives me time to kind of clean up these edges anyway with the grinder, and maybe we'll make a little, grab some quick video of that. And we've got a much cleaner end there. That's looking better. So that'll make it easier to weld once we do. So we'll just clean all these guys up, and that's pretty much all we'll be able to do for today. See you next time.